Played the role that Dick Barber is playing this year, the role of spectator, and I don't think Dita Questa would like to do 2 trips to Australia purely to play spectator at Mount Panorama. Of course, as we follow Bob Morris around, and we honestly believe he'll come in the next lap or so, 62 laps have been completed. Of course, the Coca-Cola bottlers around Australia put up $4,000 for lap 1 through lap 40. All 40 laps were taken by the Marlborough Holden dealer team with Peter Brock, and of course Jim Richards then took over. We're into the second segment of the race now, with the laps from lap 41 to lap 80, sponsored by Ingersoll Rand. And again, the Marlborough Holden dealer team are on their way to taking one of Alan Moffat's sponsors' money again for the second consecutive year. So they're doing very, very well, and we'll keep you abreast of just how much money they're collecting hour for hour in this year's Hardy for Auto, as Bob Morris comes onto Conrod Straight, and surely he must be ready to come into the pits at least for a check of what the problem seems to be. The Dick Johnson car that we mentioned before is just going back out of the pits, and it's going to come up Avco Mountain Straight shortly, but we're ready in the pits. It looks like a pit stop is on. Chris Economaki will be in position down there to bring us up to date with what the problem is. And here comes Morris, moves to the inside of the circuit, probably put his blinker on. He has it on.
He's going in.
Uh-oh, we've got problem up the top. John Harvey in car number 26, looks like, yes, he's hit. Appears to be a section of concrete walling.
You can see how he's deranged the line there, Mike. The fence is back. I assume that's John Harvey who's done it. His car's there. It's very untidily parked. In the meantime, down in the pits, we'll concentrate here. But John Harvey is out of the race. Are you there, Chris Economaki? Plenty of action there in the pits as they're trying to find out the reason for the oil leak. Under the bonnet, they're checking. No one's quite sure yet just what the problem is.
And at least, even with smoke pouring out of it, they're going to give Dita Questa a run. So his trip to Australia hasn't been in vain for the second consecutive year for the Hodson team. Looking all over it.
Not a good position for Dita Questa to be in, to be taking over with something maybe mortally wrong with the car. There's the view of the second of the Marlborough Holden dealer team cars. It wasn't Johnny Harvey. Ron Harrop had taken over. And Ron Harrop is in the car, parked very forlornly there. He seems to have hit the fence going up the mountain, in the wet probably. I suspect it was the fact that he was still on wet tyres. You can see a slight rounding of the rear right-hand corner maybe there. And maybe Ron got caught out, fresh in the car, oil on the track from a few of the disasters that have occurred up the mountain. Water, slicks, and one of the very early laps he's hit the fence and spun off on, you see there where the impact has taken place, and spun off around the top of GTX corner, and he's now out of the race. And so the first of the Holden dealer team cars is out. I don't mean they're both going to go out, but one of them is out. Peter Brock still leading, and still in the pits after a very long stop, Bob Morris, who's standing there having handed over to the Austrian driver who was last year's European touring car champion. Bob Morris, well, you can read it all in his face. He wanted to win here just as much did victory at Bathurst mean to him as taking out this year's national touring car title. He's had a great year, but this is the single most important race in Australia. Not just the money, it's the prestige, the fact that there's nothing quite like the Hardy for Auto. They're going into the back. Peter Malloy just instructing Dita Questa not to go on the track, but to drive into the back of the pits. So the problem is a very serious one, and they're taking the car into the back of the pits. We'll be reporting on what's been happening when we return to the action here at Mount Panorama, reminding you you're watching the great race.
The car seems to be running quite well. We haven't actually had any times on it, but there you see the situation of some of the slower cars at the bottom of the